our next guest, Kempy. We might have to get him some of this Chemist Warehouse goodies that we got behind us. He's a bit under the weather.
Yeah, Richie Agar apparently has a bit of tonsillitis and is at home, rugged up in bed. Mate, I know what these English blokes are like. He would have the doona on, he'd have the heater going, and probably got a pint of Guinness next to him as well. Hey, Richie, how are you going, mate? Good morning.
Have you guys got a camera in my house? Or what?
Oh, mate,
That's a bit of a worry.
Yeah, mate, you just come down like you had your week off. You're still getting over your week off, have you? That must have been a hell of a week.
Yeah, too much heat, Kempy, in Gold Coast, unfortunately. But no, mate, minor. A few tablets, and I'll be back up and running by tomorrow. But yeah, there's been a little bit going around the club, mate. So. It's found its way to me, but all good, mate. Well, all good.
Mate, can we made? Mate, can we?
Of England, we made the stand still. Sorry, mate.
Sorry, mate. Can we get a update on Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad, mate? Are we only losing him for a week?
It's too early to say, but yes, at the moment, yesterday when he came in, he'd got no real symptoms. Now we've got to see if any of those symptoms present themselves over the next couple of days. But at this moment in time, yeah, he's all good and he's in good shape considering what happened to him on Friday night.
Richie, we spoke about it earlier on in the show, just such a big loss, particularly off the back fence. He's able to relieve so much pressure. But I saw glimpses at the start of the year in Taine Tuaupiki when he played his debut in the pre-season. I think it was against the West Tigers. And I come out and said, this kid's got a huge future. Size probably is the only part he's lacking. But, mate, how does he fulfilled that role this week?
Well, your first point about Charnze, I totally agree. He's high energy, the amount of work rate and consistency he plays with is shown.
Yep.
Tremendous leadership qualities for us this year. He's going to be a loss to any team. But I feel that Taine is, for a guy that's probably only playing his third or fourth game, he's been an unbelievable signing for us. So he helps us train so much. Again, he's a guy that... he's very vocal and shows great leadership qualities within the group. Again, for a guy that's so limited on NRL experience, and when he's had to come and play, he's just not looked out of place at all. Every time he set foot on the field, and I think we saw that the other night. 18th man got activated really early and made a huge contribution to the game on Friday. So we're very, very lucky to have him, and pretty confident that while we'll miss Charnze and everything he brings. He's a world-class player that we know that Taine won't miss a beat. They bring slightly different qualities. Certainly when we've got the ball in good positions. Taine's got some tremendous footwork on him. But yeah, he's been a wonderful signing for us.
Does that change much in terms of the way you attack? Charnze Nicoll-Klokstad, I'm loving his ability to get around on that right edge. He gets the ball deep. He's late, so it puts a little bit of doubt in that centre's mind, and he creates chaos out there. Does that change the structures in the play with Taine slotting in, or systems go as normal?
No, I think you keep the same systems, and the individual may bring a slightly different look within that system.
Yeah, that's good to hear, Richie. What about Jazz Tavaga? You didn't waste any time putting him straight back in. You happy?
Yeah, look, we think Jazz is obviously going to have a big impact for us coming off the bench. His form earlier in the year was tremendous. He's a guy that he really goes after him defensively with his line speed and his speed across the ad line. We just felt like getting Jazz back up to speed. We could do that with the amount of quality and game time we've got in our pack and off our bench. We could do that by, giving him 20 or 30 minutes in first grade without having to overplay him. And we've seen enough in training to suggest that, he wasn't too ring rusty. Energy-wise and in terms of his fitness, he's been gradually building that up, and he's got there pretty quickly anyway. So yeah, we were always confident that he could, we could throw him straight back in, and he's experienced enough for it not to affect him. And we thought that was the case. We'll be better for the run, Kempy, and we're probably not going to see the best of him for a week or two. But we do think what he brings to our team is very much a vital component for us.
Richie, when you're looking at the competition, and Penrith are going pretty well at the moment, the Broncos, even without Reynolds, are going okay. Are you far off the pace after that game against the Gold Coast, you think?
I think I'll go back to something we spoke about before. It's very easy to look at a single game in isolation. You looked at our single game in isolation the other night, you're not going to say that we're on the pace with Penrith and the Broncos. Absolutely not. We got home in the last 10 minutes, and it were a performance that we got some disappointment in it. And I think, Kempy, it's really important that when you get in the sheds after a win like that, you don't make it feel like a loss. Because winning's hard. Winning in the NRL's hard, as you know. So we don't want to make it feel like a loss, but we know there's so many parts of our game. There needs to be some improvement. Look, we give the guys 6 days off because we felt at this stage of the year it was too good an opportunity not to give them a rest. With that, obviously, comes the chance that it might knock your rhythm about a little bit and get out of the flow. And I felt that was the case. But we think we're a team that has shown the ability to improve week on week and fix our mistakes up. So we know we're going to have to build to a higher level over the next 3 or 4 weeks for when we get to playoff time. But we're confident we can do that too, Kempy. We're not sort of dwelling on one poor performance and saying, we're off the pace. We can find some reasons why we probably weren't at our best the other night, but it's up to us to get them going a little bit better over the next 3 or 4 weeks. But the guys mentally are in a good place, Kempy. I think that's one of the keys. That there is still plenty of confidence in there, despite us being off in some areas the other night.
The Warriors of old would have dropped that game, Richie. The resilience he showed. I look at it from that point of view. So the ability to fight back. The leaders, mate. What's the difference?
Well, I don't know. I think the game the other night, obviously the Titans have some threats. They have some threats around speed and what they've been doing over the previous weeks. I actually felt for most of it, the threats that we'd seen, in preview, I thought our guys handled some of the threats pretty well. I thought, scored off a kick try in the last try off the intercept. I didn't feel we were massively threatened. Our ruck control needed to be better throughout periods of that game. But for me, if you're talking about the Warriors of old to where we are now, well, one, it's difficult for me to talk about that because I wasn't around. But I thought the last 10 minutes of the game, our halfback really controlled it with this, really simply with a kick chase to put us in good positions. We got on the back of our kick chase, forced a couple of repeats. We mocked up the short dropouts and short kickoffs regularly throughout the contest, and we kept our composure. And I guess if you go back and look at the tries, we made some adaptations on the run at half time, and our tries in the second half came from very similar plays. Dropping the ball back under to the back rower. One resulted in a try, and one resulted in a try on the next play. Which I think you got to credit the boys' composure and ability to deliver under pressure and probably deliver what we talked about at half time when it really mattered. And I think that comes from the confidence that's running through them at the moment. They never got too flustered. Up in the box, 18-all, we were a little bit. Well, we've probably asked for this a little bit, but at the same time, I don't think we ever lost confidence that we could bring that game on.
Mate, it's so good to see a composed and relaxed Shaun Johnson. He's absolutely on another level at the moment. We're going to talk Tigers. You're heading to Hamilton, a sold-out Hamilton Stadium. So it's so good that Tigers have been able to take one of their games and place it in New Zealand. You're heading there. You're up against a pretty aggrieved Tigers side. They had some calls going against them against Canberra Raiders. They'll be pretty disappointed. They'll be on edge this week. What's been the focus taking on the West Tigers, who are getting pretty close to their best?
Well, we think first of all the focus is on us and some of the parts of our game last week that perhaps we didn't get right. And I'll give you one example, guys. If we're getting pressured on the edges, we came up with a number of sort of flick passes last week under pressure, which we know that doesn't hold up consistently, regularly well. We got to be better than that and find a different way. And we feel that some of our improvements this week will actually fit the team that we're playing. Now, there's no chance that we're going to look at the ladder and underestimate these. I think when you go down the team and look at some of the individuals in the team, they've got some really good players. And you can see from the game last week, they're trying really, really hard. A couple of things didn't go the way for them, and the scoreboard looked as it did. We know they're a team that are going to come and try and hold the gloves up and have got the players that, if you're off and you're away from your game, they can absolutely hurt you. Fantastic that they're bringing the game. One thing I do know about last year is the hardships that our players went through, being away through the COVID period. I think the Tigers bringing the game to New Zealand is a tremendous gesture, and we've been able to get some games on the road this year, and they've been fantastic occasions. We don't want any pitch invaders. I think that's already been documented. But yeah, I think they're heading for a sellout crowd, and looking forward to it immensely.
Yeah, no, it's a sold-out crowd down there, Richie. It should be a good game. Benji Marshall, of course, returning to New Zealand with the West Tigers as well, so that's going to be a draw card. Just got a question here to ask you. Morgs has left, mate. Apparently he's off to the Cows next year. Is that a big loss?
Yeah, look, I can only speak on a personal level, Kempy. I've really enjoyed working with Morgs. Obviously, I knew him reasonably well from England, and over the years we've kept in touch from time to time. He's an extremely intelligent coach, great sense of humour on him, and I think as a coaching group this year, we've had some good fun. We've worked hard, and we go home tired, but we go home having created a good spirit amongst us, and I would say a good dynamic. We're not afraid to have tough conversations with each other, and I guess straight into each other's areas is the wrong thing, Kempy. But we can always chip in. If Morgs is looking after the forwards and I'm looking after the edges, there's no problem chipping in on each other's areas, and I think that's a good place when you can speak without fear of upsetting each other. It's disappointing for me on a personal level that he's going, but I do understand his reasons too. There's some personal reasons in there. He's going to a good club, and like you say, I'm aware. There's 2 or 3 reasons for him really why he's taking it, and so I think it's fair to say everybody understands, and he'll absolutely go with our best wishes.
Family first. It's always my mantra, my friend. That's the one you should always live by. Just quickly, my good friend Sam McGregor, he's Warriors hard from day dot. He said, can you ask how this team compares to championship he has coached?
Who's that? Sorry, say that again, the question.
Can you ask how this team, the Warriors, compares to championship teams that you have coached?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, good question. Well, there's one thing that, and Kempy will tell you this. The intensity of the competition and the difficulties on winning week in, week out is far greater in the NRL. There's no doubt. And that's no disrespect and disparagement to Super League, because it's a great competition. It's a very different mindset and different style of rugby league. But every single game here, that if you're slightly off, there's a chance that you get beat. I would say it compares with teams that have gone on and won things that I've worked at before. They've always had great team spirits, good confidence running through them, and they're really happy. And I would say that's very, very comparable to where we've got now. I think we've got a bunch of guys that really believe in what we're doing and really believe in each other, which is a vital ingredient. In terms of quality, would this Warriors team beat some of the teams that I've had in finals before? That's too difficult to say. Obviously, I just don't think you're comparing eggs with eggs.
Yeah.
So I'll leave that one alone for fear of upsetting anyone.
Thanks, Richie. Hey, we'll let you go, mate. Quickly, you got obviously big Challenge Cup weekend this week. Quickly, who you got, Hull KR or Lee?
Well, on the spot again, do you know what? I'd love to see Lee do it. I think my old man played in the last OKR team to win the Challenge Cup, which was 1980. That's how long ago it's been. I went to the game, and that team is still revered. But I think the Lee story, I love what the owner's done. He's not everyone's cup of tea. He's a colourful character, but he's gone out there and he's aggressively put a team together, and he's rebranded them differently. They're up there in the league. I think it'd be an amazing story for Lee to get the trophy.
Richie, we appreciate your time, mate. Now we know you're a bit under the weather, so we'll let you get back to your bed and
Concrete's
recover.
on its way, Richie.
And we'll get you to recover for the game this weekend, mate. We really appreciate your time. Thank you.
SENZ. It's Kiwi for Sport.